Oh, hey, hi, hey, hello, hi everyone. Welcome to Entertainment 411. I am your host, Farid YAZDANI. This is the former 10 questions with eBoss, the former one-on-one interviews. We have expanded, grown, ginormousized ourselves to become Entertainment 411. This is your backstage pass for all things casting, producing, acting, auditioning, all things entertainment. We are trying to give you the inside scoop of what's going on in the industry. Talk to the people who are involved in that industry, whether it be high-profile producers, high-profile actors, high-profile casting directors, the sound guy, the craft department. It's all here on Entertainment 411. And today, we have an absolutely wonderful group of casting directors with us today. We have a mixture of voice casting directors, short film, feature film, full-length, commercial, independent, high budget, medium tier budget, all across the board. And they are seasoned and veteran and know exactly what they're talking about. So if you have questions for these folks, please join us on our live feed. You can follow us on Instagram. Tell your friends to watch at eBoss Canada on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever it's called. You can do it on your phone. You can do it in the washroom. Just make sure your camera's, turn your camera off. Just don't have the camera on. So without further ado, why don't we welcome our panel. Ladies and gentlemen, here are our casting directors. Okay, is it gonna happen? Am I gonna make them appear? Ha! Yeah, there we go. Kim Hurdon from Kim Hurdon Casting, voice casting director. Maxime Giroux from Maxime Giroux Casting. We have Ian Bender from Hallihan Casting. Ashley Hallihan's also a member of that team. Sarah Sheps from Mann Casting. Stephen Mann, you may know him. And his mom, Gloria Mann from Gloria Mann Casting is here. It's a family affair. Guys, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. It's an absolute pleasure to have you all. I think I've met most of you in person. Some of you I haven't met in person. So this is exciting. This is exciting. I'm gonna go around our squares here, kind of like the Brady Bunch, and let's have you guys introduce yourselves. Give us a quick rundown, your background, what you do, your journey, and then we'll go into the questions. So let's go in my order. Let's go with Kim Hurdon from Kim Hurdon Casting with the lovely headset and mic. She knows what she's doing. Audio being very important. So Kim, tell us about yourself.
Audio, the most important for me. Yes.
Yes.
Because exactly, I'm a voice casting director and a voice director. So I do commercial, all voice, but commercial, animation, and gaming are pretty much my top three. Recent stuff, I'm going to try and have to think now. Resume for animation, we have done most recently Paw Patrol spinoff, Rubble and Crew, Barney's World, Caillou, Blue's Clues, Magic School Bus. And then for gaming, Star Wars Outlaws, Avatar, Warframe, Far Cry, whole bunch of stuff. Tons of stuff. That's me.
Thank you, Dan. Yeah, you may have heard of some of those shows. Magic School. No big deal. To her right, we have Maxime Giroux from Maxime Giroux Casting, all the way from Montreal. Maxime, please give us a little breakdown.
Well, I've been in casting since 2000, so it's celebrating soon 24 years. In Montreal, I cast mainly commercials, but also feature films, TV series, and I work in French and in English.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you, Maxime. Appreciate that. Right below us, we have Sarah Sheps. Sarah's on mute, and now she's on mute. Oh, look at that. She knows what she's doing. Sarah from Mann Casting. You guys may see her bubbly self every time you go into those casting rooms for commercials. Sarah, tell us about yourself.
My name is Sarah. I have been working at Mann Casting for about 12 years now. Before that, I pretty much worked for every casting director at one point as an assistant. We cast mostly commercials. We cast Mayday. We just did this Fourier Salming mini-series. So we're stepping into more long format because that makes me happy. But otherwise, my whole life is commercials, and I pretty much love it.
Wicked, wicked. Moving on over, Mr. Ian Bender. Hello, Ian. How are you?
Hi.
I don't think we've met, but I know your colleague Ashley Hallihan, so it's great to meet you in
great
person.
to meet you too.
Tell us about yourself. I love your shirt, first of all.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. My name is Ian, and Ashley Hallihan and I co-cast together at Hallihan Casting. I've been with Ashley working, I started as an assistant working for her and then moved up to an associate, and now I'm a casting director with her. So I started back in 2017, and we do both film and television, long form, short form. We do commercial work. We have our hands in a lot of different pots there.
Very nice. Thank you very much. And of course, Miss Gloria Mann from Gloria Mann Casting. Hello, Gloria. How are you?
I'm good, Farid. Well, I've been around for a very long time. I think it's 48 years.
Wow.
Oh.
That's when I started. And I started in commercials. And I did commercials for 35 years. And then I decided I was going to retire. So Stephen had just come back from Concordia. And I said, please come and I'll teach you whatever I know, and maybe you could take over. And no, I don't want to do that. I said, just do it. I mean, what else are you going to do? You have a BA, and where's that going to take you? So he started, and it took him a while to get used to it. But once he got used to it, has a very good eye, and it was very easy for me that he could choose the talent, and it didn't take him very long. So I retired, and he said, "Are you sure, Mom?" I said, I'm really sure. I mean, 35 years, it's enough." So I retired, and mine is a little longer story, but you have to stick with it because it's a funny story. So I retired, and that was on a Friday. I went home. I said, what the hell have I done? I sat home every day. I didn't know where to put myself, what to do. So I walked into the office the following Friday, and Stephen said, I've been waiting for you. And I said, no, no, no. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do long format. He said, Mom, you can't do long format. Nobody knows you in long format. I said, that's true, but nobody knew me in commercials either. I'll figure out a way. He said, okay. Well, it was very strange that that week I got a phone call from Cineflix. I had sent out my resume to a bunch of production houses, and Cineflix called me because Stephen Scott, who I still work for today, we just did a big Disney show. He was casting a commercial called Urban Legend at Cineflix. This is going back 15 years ago. And I won't tell you who he fired, but he fired his casting director, and he called me. Oh, he didn't call me. The girl Pixie called me. What mother names a kid Pixie? Anyways, Pixie called me, and she said, could you come down here? And Stephen Scott wants to talk to you. So I went down. I rushed down. I said, Stephen, what is it? Told me how to fire somebody. Could I please take over? I said, I've never done long format. I don't know how. He said, don't worry, I'll show you. So they sent me a copy of somebody's breakdown. They told me exactly what to do. I put it out, went up on Breakdown Express. I chose the talent because I knew the talent because I'd been doing commercials for so long. I did the first one episode, and I figured they're going to say, okay, thank you, we'll move on. No, they offered me the 10 episodes. So I did them, and I liked it. So I started sending out my resume everywhere, and Cream Productions called Cineflix to Mary Patricia and said, you know, a casting director? Our casting director passed away. Remember Crystal Kramer? Do you remember her, Kim? Crystal, you, Maxime?
No.
No.
Ian, Crystal Kramer. She was a young, lovely girl. She passed away. She was, I think, 35. And Cream was stuck in the middle. They were a clearinghouse at that time. And Mary said, look, we just used Gloria Mann. She did an okay job. You can call her. Well, they called me. I've been there 15 years. So, you know, it worked out very well. And I have some really prestigious clients out of Los Angeles that are doing a non-union. What's his name? God, he does I do all his ghost shows. This is what happens when you turn 81. You get a block. oh God, he's from Los Angeles. He's a really good-looking guy. He nominated me for a CSA for Fear Thy Neighbor, and I don't win, but he nominated me. What the heck is his name? I'll remember it. Um, so I did one job for him, and I ended up doing like 4 or 5 a year for about 4 years. And then now I hear he's coming back. But as Ian knows, it's a little slow out there, for non-union especially. Series there's just not a lot of non-union work. Um, oh, my daughter just sent something. So I mean, I haven't done anything. I just did a series at Blue Ant. I don't work there, but my director was working there. She's Eli Roth. She's my spokesperson. Yeah, for Eli Roth. I worked with him for a long time. He's amazing. Very easy to look at. Oh my God. Anyways, he honest Maxine. I just said, yeah. He's so cute. So he's coming back, I hope soon. I did one series over at Blue Ant because my director Brian Rice was over there. They're very nice, but I think do they use you, Ian? They use somebody. I don't know who they use at Blue Ant. It was Saloon. Now it's Blue Ant. So I don't know, but I'm sure they're not going to call me again. It was just my director. So, I've been around for a long time. I've seen so many people come and go. I've seen so many actors come and go. At 48 years, it's a long time. And I think it's even more because it is more because I was 30. So it's over 50 years that I've been
Wow.
doing this. It's a
Wow.
long time and it's very different now. It's so different now than when I first started.
Definitely.
Commercials weren't paying like what they're paying now. Film wasn't paying what like it's paying now, and I really like it a lot. Even now, I still like it a lot. It just, I get a very good feeling when I never have this is the truth. I don't know why. I've never had a redo or a callback in 15 years at Cream, and I only give them 6 people a category. Because unlike commercials you can bring in 20, 30, 40 people. I only can bring in 6 because I'm doing 14 characters a day, 12 characters a day. I never had, look at Sarah smiling. I love that person. Uh,
You
anyways,
touched on a few things, Gloria, that
it's,
we're going to actually get into, but I
I
don't want
love,
to give
Love
too much
this.
away. I don't want to give
I
too much
love what
away because we need to start to go into the questions, Gloria. So thank you so much for
okay,
that. And then what we're
okay.
going to do is we'll come back to some of the points you brought up because as you know, as you mentioned, I've seen a lot of things changing. So the first thing we're going to talk about actually is the change. So it's a great segue. Thank you for that, Gloria. And I want to get some of your guys' opinions, especially since last session we talked a lot to a lot of television casting directors, feature film television casting directors. So maybe as well as Sarah and Kim on the voice side, you guys can talk about this a little bit. Um, the pandemic happened. So during 2020, things just completely shifted. And what we're doing today is actually how a lot of auditions were done over Zoom. Self-tapes became predominant. So I just want to kind of get everyone's opinion on what you guys think. Pros, cons. Do we like it? Do we not like it? I'm going to jump in here and there to touch on some points. But how about we start with Sarah? Sarah, on the commercial side of things, what have you noticed has changed as far as auditions?
Everything's
Yeah,
changed.
definitely.
And I can say a million great things. Number one, self-tapes. They're here to stay and they're really good. Like our talent is getting top notch. People know what they're doing. I can watch a whole lot more auditions than I used to because I have the luxury of time and I can watch them at my convenience. I think agents are starting to know their talent a lot better because they're watching what we were seeing. They're able to see where their talent strengths are. They can give notes. People can redo tapes. We can take a chance on a lot more people. I can see a lot more people. People I don't know as much, I can take a chance. Obviously, if they're not fabulous, we don't send them off to the director. But, there's more people we can see. I also feel like people have a bit of a better life balance. For initial auditions, it was like, come at 3:35 to Mann casting. You have to be there then. Now you do a self-tape when it works for you. So that's a beautiful thing. I feel it's awesome. I do miss a little bit in the room. Of course, when you're in the room and we can direct you and stuff, that's awesome. Commercial's such a high volume, fast paced business. We don't have a lot of time to watch it and give notes. Sometimes we do. So I do miss the in the room, but on a whole, I think it's dramatically changed for the better. I just think it's easier for people to tape at their convenience, and we can see more people. And as the casting director, I can see a lot more tapes than I used to be able to, because we were busy during the day. I couldn't, I'd be there at recalls at the end to watch and review, but I wasn't watching every single audition. And now I sure see a lot.
That's definitely a pro. My one thought is on commercials, there's a lot of chemistry. I noticed. I mean, obviously, I've been. Side note: I've been doing a lot of commercials for years. Mann has casted me in millions, so thank you, Mann. Not millions. I would have been so rich by now. I wish. But what I noticed in auditions for commercial that's a little different than television and film is there's a lot of chemistry that's involved. A lot of times you're in a multiple spot with multiple people. You guys mix and match, pair. Do you find that to be a bit of a hurdle with self tapes? Whereas you're seeing, I know we can do Zoom ones now. But do you find that being a bit of a hurdle? Are you?
We're in studio for recalls. 99.9% of the time, we're in studio for recalls, and we do a lot of mixing and matching and chemistry. So the magic isn't gone. It's really just the self tapes for round one. So no, I feel like the magic is still there. And it's working pretty great.
That's a great point, and that's something that I actually pitched in our last show that I thought maybe that would be a great middle ground for what's happening right now, especially for film and television. If the initial tapes or self-tapes and callbacks were in the room, so you can get that kind of feedback, direction, and what have you. Kim, I mentioned you on the voice world. I mean, I've been doing a lot of stuff at home studio, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel a lot of times there are, even before COVID, people were doing voice auditions at their casting offices, studio, in their own studio at home, even on their iPhone with a good mic. Do you find there to be a big shift since COVID? Do you find it better, worse, same?
Yeah, it's the same. It's exactly what Sarah said. So yeah, that's how we used to do it. Some people would do it off-site, but we held auditions in a recording studio, and then COVID made that go away. And actors have really been awesome about really stepping up their game, and you can still absolutely record on an iPhone if it's especially voice, as long as you know what you're doing, because we don't want to hear the dog or the vacuum or the lawnmower. Things like that are super distracting. We can't forward that to a client. But the other thing that's added for me is because we aren't locked geographically at all, there's no shoot that's going to happen somewhere. We're global. Like you can be anywhere now if it's non-union. I mean, and you can get permitted if it's union. So we're casting all over the world now. So and with authentic casting, we're casting, in England if we need a British voice. We're casting in Ireland. We're casting in, like we're doing one right now, casting in Finland and Norway because we're looking for those accents. So it's cool. It's super cool for us. Yeah, it's a lot more work.
Yeah.
I mean, finding those contacts and getting out there, but it's pretty cool, pretty fun. Yeah.
Pro tip: if you have a car, do your self tape in your car because it's quiet. That's what I do.
Yeah.
It is.
Lock it up. Maxime, do you find is it any different out there and on your end of the world?
It's a different. We've been back in studio on the French side of commercials and also on the fiction side. I know in English, especially if I work on double shoots originating from Toronto, they will want to do self tapes the first time around. So it's a kind of I straddle both ways of like the ancient times and the new times.
Right.
But yes, I think the pandemic has, because self tapes in Quebec before pandemic, that was just like, if you were really stuck in that person, you really wanted to see that person, and they couldn't come in person, we would accept a self tape. Otherwise, it was just like, sorry, you can't audition for this project. Now it is a solution. Actors have gotten much better at them. They understand what we want. They also have, as Sarah mentioned, the liberty of doing it on their own schedule, their own time. They don't have to hire a babysitter to keep the kids, take care of the kids while they go audition middle of the downtown, wherever the studio location is, where you're holding auditions. So it's the flexibility of all of this, and it's not because I'm doing an in-person audition, even if it's a first round, that I won't say that I will say no to a self-tape. Let's say the person cannot come that day, I will also ask for a self-tape. So it really is depending on the project, where it originates from. And I have Quebec clients that also want to do self-tapes. So it really depends on the project, what we're looking for, who we're casting. If I'm casting people from outside of Quebec, same thing. Self-tapes are okay. Or, they're located really far away in Quebec, same thing. Self-tapes are acceptable.
That's a great point, actually. Our brains are linked.
Yeah.
You segued to my next question. It was a really good question, actually, that I forgot. And there it is again. Okay, great. It's back. So you mentioned that you would accept self-tapes if that person couldn't make it into the room. Here's a good question, because I have my own personal opinion, but I'd like to hear from the casting directors. Maybe, Ian, you could touch on this one. If you have the option to go in the room for a live audition, do you find it in the best interest to make all the effort to be in that room? And do you find that the people who are in that room probably have a bit of an advantage over the people that decide to do the self-tape? Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always a kind of a magical energy, and I think anyone can agree that like when you are in person with someone, you can really see chemistry. You get the chance to say hello to them before or after the audition. It just, I grew up as an actor, so I remember going into rooms and seeing casting directors and being able to say hello before and calm my nerves. I didn't really act while we were doing the whole self-tape thing. I did maybe a handful of them my entire time I was acting. So that's more of something that's new for me as a casting director, which, and I'll touch on what everyone else has said too. It does allow us to see so many more people for the role. So in the end, it's more work for us in casting because we need more staff and more time to watch all of these tapes, and I like to watch all of them as well. But it does give us an opportunity to kind of bring in some people that some clients haven't seen before. But it is really nice being able to at least do callbacks or chemistry reads in person, and now we have the ability to even do hybrid calls where we can connect some members of production who are not in town or working remotely on location scouts, and some actors who are unable to make it in person. So we've explored some of that as well, and I think technology is kind of getting there for all of us, and hopefully it's able to help more people get jobs.
Great, thank you, Ian. Yeah, you mentioned something that I also want to touch on, the hybrid situation. I've had this happen with commercial, and I've noticed it's becoming more of a thing now. Instead of a self-tape, it's kind of a live self-tape, if you will. It's like a Zoom audition where there'd be the casting director, sometimes producer, director. Obviously, it's very difficult to get everyone that you need on board. I'll leave this open to discussion. Anyone can pop right in, put your hand up, and just start talking. Do you find that is becoming more of a situation? Are we able to see more Zoom tapes so you're able to get that feedback, but also still being at home? I mean, I get it's still like, to Sarah's point, you might not be able to see as many tapes. It's all live. It's almost like running a session, but it's going to be a little bit easier for those in Montreal, US, LA. Have you guys had any experience with that? Anyone want to jump on that? The Zoom audition?
Well, if I may, in Quebec for a while during pandemic, it was like self-tapes were slower to get requested, and we were doing a lot of Zoom auditions, which was, in my opinion, the best of both worlds, because you stay at home and you also, because with self-tapes, if you did not get the tone of what we're looking for, we may, usually we try to send written directions, or I even have directors recording videos where they tell you what they want. We send that along with the audition request. But at the same time, let's say you didn't completely understand what the tone was, or what especially if it's comedy and if it's, dry humor and stuff like that. you just sometimes just need to be redirected slightly, and you'll get it. So being on Zoom is wonderful for that, because you have an instant reaction. We can ask you, okay, let's do it this way, let's try it that way. Thank you very much. Because the self tape, we see you're good, we see you are a talented performer. But we're not quite sure that you're able to do without directions what we want. And that's why we do callbacks in person.
Right.
So yes, Zoom is wonderful. I mean, the pandemic, I mean, it was a really tough time, but for casting, it allowed the technology, the access to technology allowed us to broaden the scope of how many people we can see, and also to take chances on people which we couldn't originally do when we were doing in-person auditions.
That's a great point. The weirdest thing for me is this show right here. Am I doing it right? Was my first ever series regular that I booked. That became we got 3 seasons. But when I auditioned, it was during the pandemic. I never actually got to experience the pandemic, and it was a self-tape, and then it was another self-tape, and then it was a live chemistry read over Zoom. And I was like, I remember going up to my director, Scott Smith, and I said, how the hell did you cast us on Zoom and knew that we had chemistry? And the thing that he said to me that actually blew my mind, he's like, oh, I was looking at a monitor. When I'm on set sometimes, I'm looking at a monitor, and it's like, there's your coverage, there's her coverage, and I can see you guys both. It's perfect. And I never actually thought of that. So it's actually, yeah, Zoom has become a kind of a nice, interesting tool. Gloria, you had your hand up. Did you want to mention something about the Zoom auditions and your
Yeah,
thoughts on that, or the self-tape?
I don't do self tapes, and if I do, Sarah sort of does them for me, puts them up for me. I do everything live, well, not live, but on Zoom. That's how my directors like it. The directors, we're all on Zoom. I do it at LB Studios. They give me a reader and a cameraman, and it's amazing because at the end of the day, I get the tape and my list as they appear on the tape. I send it, and they're passed right off that. The director knows which ones to choose to show everybody, and it's not hard for them because I only bring in 6 a category. So I find it much easier the way I do it. I find, for me, I find the self tapes very confusing. There's too many of them, and really, when I have to do 4 or 5 series or 6 series a year, I don't have time to look at 150 tapes. And I asked the directors if they would look at them, and no, they don't want to do that. So for me, and the director comes in and they're happy to do it. It's in one day. We do all the categories in one day, and there's no problem for me. I like the way I do it. I think I would get very confused with all these self tapes, and I've only had it twice. And Sarah had to put everything up for me because I didn't know how to do it, to be honest with you. But I'm lucky I have backup. I have Mann casting backup.
It's a family affair.
So,
You guys want to adopt me? Could use some
You know,
help.
you know what else is nice, Farid? People like who are working, and working actors are usually working. Like we can Zoom them from set. We can, when someone's, you know, we do a lot of shoots that they're in Chile, they're in here, and they just Zoom in. I have a big recall tomorrow. I have somebody coming from Uruguay. I have somebody in Vancouver. I have somebody coming from set. And normally we'd be like, sorry, we'll watch your first audition. But this way the director can work with them. So it's like, it's kind of a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And you can go on vacation with your family and not be like, well, now I'm missing out on everything. Like, we pack a little tripod. My husband's an actor. My son's an actor. And it's like, doesn't matter where we are. We can do a recall.
Yeah, I have a tripod in my suitcase. If you ever want to book a show, go on vacation. Go on a long vacation, actors. It never fails. Go to Bali. That's what I did. Go to Bali.
Or book on Expedia because it's the hardest to change your flights. Then you know your family will book something.
Yeah,
But it's the same for
100%.
us.
Happens every time. No, but that's a great point, Sarah. Yeah, it's true. I would, like, when I was filming in Nova Scotia, I was able to do an audition in Toronto because I was able to throw a tape down in my trailer, and I kind of looked like I was working. So they're like, "Oh, this guy's working, so we can trust him." So yeah, you're right. It's a very convenient thing. Can I tell you how many parking tickets I got at Mann Casting? I had so many parking tickets. I am so happy to not get parking tickets anymore. I want to talk about the self-tapes for those who do it, because Gloria has a good point. She just goes right to the studio. She gets help with the reader and what have you. So for those who are doing the self-tapes, those watching at home, do's and don'ts. Maybe just a quick little do's and don'ts. I mean, Kim's is going to be a little bit different, obviously, for the voice stuff. But if you guys want to touch on the do's and don'ts of the self-tape, things that you guys hate, things that you love, even if there's such small things like where they put their slate, you know, stuff like that.
So I'll go first because
Yeah.
mine's going to be different.
Sure.
So yes to what you just said. Everyone has a different way of doing it and what they're asking for, and it depends on the production and the casting director. So pay attention to the instructions, to the directions. Don't give us any reason to go boop into the garbage, because sometimes we're getting 300, 400, 500. So don't give us any reason to do that. Really pay attention to what we're asking for. And as you said, where we want the slate, what we want the slate to be. And then as far as voice specifically goes, if it's animation, don't read the other characters. You're just doing your lines, because that happens. And I'm like, what's happening? Oh, yeah, no, don't do that. And if it's gaming and you're doing efforts, go for it. Don't hold back on it. Don't just sort of mark it. You've got to go for it, or we won't know that you can actually replicate that in the studio and really push it. So those would be my big two for voice.
I did my Avatar audition, and I got booked it. Thank you, Kim. I did it in the car. people thought I was going crazy.
Oh yeah, we've had,
Ah!
yeah, that's it. When we were casting, I think it was Far Cry 6, we had one of the actors had the police called because they were dying, and they said that was a good job.
Right. See,
but yeah,
go in your garage basement, people, if you're doing your car.
Or tell your neighbors what you're doing.
I can talk read commercials a little bit.
Yeah.
I will say we just got a website, like years and years we haven't had one, and there's a whole thing for actors, and it has so much detail on how to do a proper self-tape. So I won't bore you with the nitty-gritty, but my husband and Andy and stuff, anyways, they spent months writing it. So it's www.mancasting.com. But if you see for actors, you'll see all the tips. Here are the things that what I would love. Label your tape. I process a lot of self-tapes, and I'll be watching McDonald's, and then someone will say, I bank with RBC. And if your agents are uploading, or you're uploading yourself, you know, hundreds of tapes on Monday at 10 a.m., and it's labeled image 764, of course they're going to be confused. Or if it just says Sarah Sheps, but I'm sending 4 auditions on Monday morning, the wrong one's going to go to the wrong place. Label it Sarah Sheps McDonald's. It will change your life. Also, a lot of people spend time on like wardrobe and props and editing and title cards and music, but their acting is not where they're spending the time. We are hiring you to be the actor. On set, there is going to be a sound designer. You know, there's going to be an editor. We have to see you. We have to hear you. It has to be a nice take, but please, please, please spend your effort. If you're going to spend money, spend it on acting training. Don't spend it on the world's greatest camera, the world's best microphone, and spend hours making it look like the actual commercial. We are hiring you to be the actor, so please focus on your acting.
Just a quick question to touch on that, because you know sometimes when you go in the room, you guys have the hero bikes, the props, the product that you guys are you yay or nay? Like, let's say the audition is equally as good on these 2 takes. Would you prefer the person mime the bite? Or would
Never,
you
ever mind eating. It looks so strange. And we put that in all our self-tape notes.
Thank you.
Spend money. If it's a McDonald's commercial and it's a pandemic, I will Uber Eats to 400 people a hamburger. If you come into studio, I will have it there for you. Everyone has a piece of bread. Everyone has something.
Right.
Please, please, please always bite something that is not the air.
Right. That's okay. Thank you for that. Ian, Maxime, each and every one of you guys want to touch on the self-tape do's and don'ts?
Basically, like I'm following Sarah's advice, is like we want to see you, so proper lighting, whether it's a window and not against it, but use the light to light you up if you don't have a ring light, and use your cell phone. Cell phones are so now performing that that's all you need basically, is like a stable image, good sound, and we can actually see you and spend the time showing us how good of an actor you are and why you're so right for this part. That's what we want to see.
Wicked.
Yeah.
We have.
I
Sorry, go ahead, Ian. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I agree with all of those notes. Like I think we just really want to hear and see you clearly, and attach your slate separately because some casting directors like it at the beginning, some casting directors like it at the end. For us, rule of thumb is usually for commercials we'll put it at the beginning, and for long form content we'll place it at the end. But if you attach it separately and label it as your slate, then we can move it to wherever we want it.
Yeah, I've heard that tip a lot of times. I feel like I start doing that from now on. Question, if you guys don't mind. Let's say it says slate at the beginning, slate at the end. Would you prefer it actually at the end, or would you guys prefer it just separate? Because, I've heard a lot of casting directors say just send your slate separately. That way we could put it where we want it. I guess obviously it's preferred if there's a specific instruction to put it in that spot. But if it just says send a slate, would you guys all prefer it separately? You can click yes or no. Kim, no. Kim, no. Your voice, no. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I want it part of the
Voice
file.
definitely.
Yeah.
Sarah, Maxime?
But
Gloria?
if there is, that's the thing, is that what's very frustrating sometimes for us is that we take the time to write very specific directions and instructions, and we can clearly see by watching the self-tape that you've not listened or you've not actually read what we sent you, and that's more frustrating than anything else, especially if we've asked you something specific about the slate or biting into a real piece of food or anything else. So it's just, it's usually, we try to keep it short. We try to keep it to the point. So take the 1 minute that it needs to, be read and understood, and then just do it.
This is the casting director's red M&Ms. I don't know if you guys heard about this. In people's riders, there's a red M&M piece where it says, we need red M&Ms only. It's just to show that the person has actually read the rider. So very similarly, this is what the slate is. They put that in there to make sure you've read the slate instructions. So actors, read your auditions. Ian, same question, I guess. And Gloria, I mean, you guys do in person, so you don't do you do the slate together in your tapes. Ian, if you want to just touch on where to place the slates, is there a preference? If it's separate, if there's no instructions, would you prefer it separate at all times?
Yeah, if there's no instructions.
Sorry,
yeah.
Sorry, Ian.
If there's no instructions, then attach it separately. But if we do say we want it at the beginning or at the end, then put at the beginning or the end, just read and follow those instructions, because every casting director is a little different and every client's a little different. Sometimes we get clients that are very specific in what they want to present to their other clients. It all goes somewhere else, and some people are pickier than others. So we're following instructions as casting directors, and we hope that the actors we present are able to follow through as well.
Gloria, on your Zoom, do they ask for a slate at the beginning? Is there a preference when you do Zoom auditions? Do you have any preference for that?
Yeah, they just want their name, and they want them to stand back. They want their height and weight and the name of the character that they're playing. That's it. It's so simple. I mean, I'm listening to all this. I'm getting a headache just listening to what everybody has to do with these self-tapes. It's a lot of work. It really is. I mean, I'm in awe that what you casting directors, are doing with these self-tapes. I don't know. I never did them. I always did them on Zoom, and now LB Studios. I have a quite a large show going to be starting in July or August. 6 1-hour episodes of a crime show. I do all these crime shows and ghost shows, and Eli Roth calls me the ghost lady. I mean, I got a title now. Anyways, I could never, ever do what
to flip this script, the actors too, what you guys are doing is remarkable. You are doing these, you're a reader, and your partners, if any partners or kids are listening, you're now expected to be the cameraman, the sound man, find a reader. And it's due tomorrow, when we try to give you 48 to 72 hours, but it's emergency recast and this and that. And because I live with an actor, I'll sometimes be like, we put our son to bed. All right, 4 self-tapes. Let's bang them out. It's 11 o'clock at night. What you guys do is magic. So I hope you all know how much we appreciate it, because without you guys like really stepping up, and I am blown away like daily with how much effort and just how great your self-tapes are. So we're so appreciative what you guys do, because we really couldn't do this new world without you, and you're all amazing.
That's a great segue. On that note of confidence to all the actors, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, quick little commercial break from our sponsors. Ooh, we have sponsors. Look at us getting all fancy. So just stay tuned, guys. We're going to be back with some more questions. I'm going to open up the floor as well to those on Facebook, Instagram, Facebook Marketplace. If you're watching from there, it's kind of weird. And you can ask questions to these casting directors, okay? So we'll be right back after these messages.
Director who gives you good notes. I'm going to be a bad director who gives you lousy notes.
My Tribe Studio. A versatile space for your projects. A space to find your tribe.
Woo! Sometimes you just gotta scream it from the top of a mountain. Are you ready to make 2024 the best year of your life and your career? The industry is about to boom. Right now, Actors Audition Club, we're going to give away our free audition success checklist. Click the link around this post. It's going to help you shoot standout auditions in less time so that you can book lead roles in your dream projects and make 2024 the best year ever. Woo! Woo!
That's that last one was quite the ad. The Actors Audition Club helps film and theater actors shoot standout auditions in less time so you can hit tight deadlines, nail the callback, and book the role. Once again, get that free proven 24-step checklist to submit your strongest takes each and every time. It's at www.actorsauditionclub.com/checklist. Once again, grab your free audition success checklist at www.actorsauditionclub.com/checklist. If you guys know any sponsors or want to be a sponsor on our program, oh, Gloria's back. I thought you left. I thought you got scared from the first time. If you want to sponsor anything on eBoss, it keeps us rolling, keeps us alive and well, and being able to run these wonderful things, you can contact us at hello@eboss.com. That is the email. If you want to also DM me, I can also help you guys with that as well. So we're back. Those of you who have just started to tune in from now, we are here with 5 glorious casting directors from all parts of the realm, whether it be non-union, union, commercial, television, film, voice. We have Kim Hurdon from Kim Hurdon Casting, Maxime Giroux from Maxime Giroux Casting, all in Montreal, Sarah Sheps from Mann Casting, Ian Bender from Hallihan Casting, and Gloria Mann from Gloria Mann Casting. Welcome back, guys. Thanks again for being here. We were just talking about the self-tapes. Don't worry, guys. This is going to be put on live afterwards so that we can chat, or so you guys can watch those questions back if you did miss them. Please submit your questions in the chat feed. I'll be able to see them, and I'll ask them to our casting directors. You can have general questions, specific questions to our panelists, anything you like. So let's talk about the strike. The strike happened in the U.S., as we do know, the writer's strike, the actor's strike, and as well, the Writers Guild of Canada was on strike. And they luckily just got an agreement a couple of days ago, so they are back. I just want to say that I stand in solidarity to our friends at the Writers group in Canada, because you know what? Americans got what they'd like. Canadians should get what they like as well. So even though it was a bit painful at times, I definitely think it was for the greater good. Casting directors, did you find a drop-off and a crazy surge? Did you find that there were more opportunities for Canadian actors, maybe because the American actors were on strike? Did you find anything jarring happen during the strike, whether it be the recent one for the writers, for Canadians, or the ones for the U.S.? Anybody would like to talk? Sorry. Ian.
Yeah, we definitely had a few projects that had to push. And then started a little bit later or just after the new year. So it's been a bit of a different flow this year than what we've experienced in the past. However, we've been like very lucky to still been kept busy, and but we know that there were quite a few people that did struggle, during that time, and the industry isn't completely back yet, I don't think, but we're starting to see signs, at least in our house, of some growth and some movement there. So hopefully that keeps on plugging in. These changes, we're very important, and I'm really glad that they did come to an agreement for everyone's sake.
Sarah, are you whistling? Sarah froze. That's a great place for her to freeze.
It's a really good place. It's very cool.
That is so funny.
She'll be back. I don't know if we're gonna keep a straight face during all this. Kim, Gloria, Maxime, do you guys want to touch on the strike and how it affected maybe out in Montreal, how it affected the voice world, how it affected non-union world? Gloria, go ahead, Maxime.
I was gonna say, like, I have this separate kind of entity on the French side. Like, production was back really quickly. We were very, very lucky that the government decided that commercial was an essential service, because they were using commercials to teach people about, or give important notice about how to wash your hands and stuff like that. So we had to produce commercials, and that started in the commercial world production much faster than I think it was in the rest of Canada. And also the fiction things, so the long format, there was a lot of production because everything had been stalled, and then everything needed to be shot at the same time. We even had a shortage of technician at one point. So it was very difficult. But in terms of what was happening in the rest of Canada, I really can't talk about this. So I'll let my colleagues.
No, but that's great insight to know about what was happening out there. That's because we in Toronto sometimes we audition out in Montreal, so it's always good to know what's going on out there. There's a lot of shows that have been cast out there as well. So one thing I'll give, just speaking of which, quick little segue: actors, don't limit yourself to your region. I know sometimes we think that when we're in Toronto, we can only audition in Toronto, but one thing that I've done is I've reached out. I'm with an agency in Toronto that also has a Vancouver office. I reached out and have an agent out on that end so that I could also touch down on that market. And I visited and met the casting directors. Same thing if you're ever in Montreal, go and meet the casting directors. At the end of the day, it's Canada. Yes, there are sometimes provincial tax credits where you have to be from that province, but a lot of times they're casting Canada-wide. And if they know you, great. If they don't, they ain't going to call. So it's in your best interest to get to know these casting directors. And that's why we're here at Entertainment 411, so you can know all the casting directors. Sarah, just to let you know, you were frozen like this, and it was really hilarious.
I know. I don't know what was happening, but all of a sudden it was like, but I think I have the internet again.
It was an adorable pose. Don't worry. It wasn't embarrassing at all. Okay. We were talking about the strike, and we were talking about how it affected us. And now I know especially the commercial agreement that's been going on and back and forth in the lockout. Do you want to maybe talk about that specifically and how it's affected the commercial world?
Well, I'm not really at liberty to say much, except for when I get an actor job, my life is golden. Toronto is beyond talented, and I'm so grateful for their talent. I wish I could use it more. That being said, there's some amazing non-union talent, so I'm grateful for their talent too. And I just hope everyone works it all out and life becomes perfect again. But it's not currently perfect.
Fair.
Oh, diplomatic answer. I love it.
Gloria, did you find anything change during the strike for you on your end? Have you found a slowdown, a pickup, an influx maybe as well, because you do non-union stuff as well? You're on mute still, though. You got to unmute yourself first.
Am I muted? Yeah, it slowed down a lot for me. There was no work for me in the last 5 or 6 months from Cream, and that's where 90% of my jobs come from. I teach, so that sort of kept me busy. It was really tough, not just for me. I mean, I've been around a long time, so it's all right if I have some time off. But a lot of the younger kids that work in the back office, they were starving. And but right now there's things happening. I just had a really nice one land, and there's another one coming, I'm told. So um, I'm going to start getting busy again. But I didn't work for 5 or 6 months. There were no non-union shows because most of them, even though we're doing them here, most of the shows have American people in it. So they travel and they interview the Americans in Arkansas and this, murders, and they're not Canadian show. They're Canadian shows, but they're not Canadian people. They're American people, but it's non-union, so it doesn't matter, obviously. So it's been tough, but I just want everyone to work. I really do. That's my main concern is everybody gets a piece of the pie. I know that some are getting a lot and how they're getting it. I just can't go that route. I just mind my own business and that's it. And I work, and when I work, I work, and when I don't, I shut up. And that's the bottom line. I don't say I'm this, I'm that, I'm not. I just want everybody to work. That's really important. Then our industry works properly. And we don't have people complaining. I mean, it's tough. This is a tough gig. Casting directing is a tough gig. It's not easy. You have to have, number one, a really good eye, and you have to understand a script. That's very important. And I think I'm lucky. I have a good eye, but I make mistakes too. Everybody makes mistakes. But then I got Sarah to help me. I'm lucky,
Sarah, I'm gonna
I'm
call you.
lucky. Stephen and Sarah are my lifeguards. I'm getting tired. I am, but
I want
I'm
to cast
still
a
working.
ghost. I'm jealous.
Say that again.
Cast a murdering neighbor or a spooky ghost.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what I'm doing. And the Eli Roth shows are like museums with artifacts that become alive, and it's scary because they're ghosts, and so he calls me the ghost lady. I don't know. Hi, ghost lady. Like, what a mantle I have. But anyways, listen, I love what I do, and I'm thankful for what this industry has given me and the people that I know here, and like all these people here. I just met Kim Hurdon, but I've known you for so many years, and I've
Oh,
known your
many.
name. Yeah, so many. And but these people, lovely Ian and Sarah, of course, is like my kid. I love her to death. I don't know what I would do without her. And I don't know. I'm just happy that I'm involved in this industry. It's a good industry, and makes us happy. And we love what we do, and we give people an opportunity to make a living. And yeah, I'm lucky. That's all I can say. It's been 50 years, and I'm still at it, but it's slowing down. And I talk too much. I know that, but I sometimes
It's
stop.
all good. It's all
You have to say to me, "Shut up."
But it is true what Gloria is saying. Like we're all quite friendly. Like I don't feel like we're all in competition. I call like Shasta and Powerhouse like all the time when I have questions about stuff. We all work with each other, and when we're all too busy, we give each other jobs. And I really think probably like actors, like when you need a buddy for a self tape, you're not like, no, you're gonna steal my role. Like we all have to be a beautiful unit in order to be successful. So I do feel like the casting world is pretty connected, and we all like, we all have our strengths. We know what we're good at, and when somebody calls us with a job and we're like, we know we're not so good at that, we happily will pass it off to other people. And same for them with us. It's kind of it is a beautiful industry. Like Gloria said, we do all kind of love each other and, and love actors, obviously.
Agreed. Well said, guys. I'm going to transition over to another question that a lot of actors have. This might be interesting to ask for a commercial as well, and especially voice, because I know I got to work on this myself. The demo reel. The demo reel, the demo reel, the demo reel. Where do we start? We'll keep it brief, but essentially, what are certain things you guys are looking for from a demo reel? Is there such a thing as a too long of a demo reel? Things you don't want in a demo reel. Is there even such a thing as a commercial demo reel? Does that exist? That sort of thing. So, Sarah, let's start with you. Is there commercial demo reels? Is that a thing you guys look for?
Yeah. There's not a lot of people. A demo reel is great. If you've done commercials, if you've done TV and film, of course it's lovely for us to see your work, especially for commercials. I love watching long format demo reels and seeing people in all the shows and seeing their beautiful chops come through. It's wonderful. A really not great demo, they're better to have none. Like if you're just like doing, Shakespeare, and we've seen them all in your bedroom, or it's like, like you at a not even very professional class, no demo is better. But if we use Breakdown Express, there's this slate shot, I think it's called, or slate chat.
Yeah.
I watch those, and Stephen watched those a lot. It's nice to hear your voice. So for me, yes, demos are wonderful. If you're a strong commercial actor, a commercial demo's great. I love to watch your long format demos, but I'd rather watch nothing than something that's just you, like just making stuff up alone in your bedroom.
Do you ever have you ever had a situation where you send commercial demos to clients?
All the time. They ask all the time, can you email the agent, see if they have any past spots? Can you, anything to help sell the talent, is, which it sounds like we're selling you like a product. We're not. We think of you as a human and an artist, but if it can help us get you the job, of course, we're going to send anything we can to show them just how talented you are.
Sweet. Kim, the voice demo.
Mhm.
Where to go? I mean, I know you offer this sort of service as well in your like classes that you have. By the way, Kim Hurdon has classes. You guys sign up. Look for that online. That was free sponsorship from you guys. Yeah. What do you look for in a voice demo? Do you prefer stuff like, if there's stuff that someone has done, for example, if they're in a video game, would you like to see the video game footage as well? Do you want to just hear the audio? Can you have a hybrid voice demo where it's some video game stuff, maybe it's some commercial over commercial stuff over radio, and it's just like a picture with the audio? Are there separate tapes for that, or separate demo reels for that? What do you prefer as a voice agent and voice director?
Yeah, for voice, because it's so different depending on the genre, from audiobook to gaming to commercial they're all so different, that whatever genre that you want to get into, you should have a demo for that genre, because it just won't represent you well otherwise. And they're usually not longer than a minute and a half tops. And what you want to show is range within that genre. So that's about it.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah.
I'm going to email you later for some help.
Okay, you're on.
Ian, Maxime, and Gloria, what are you guys looking for, I guess, for long formats or narrative demos? Is there such thing as too long? Do you like to see a comedy and dramatic? Do you like to see a demo that's generic with a comedy demo? That sort of thing.
Keep it short. Keep it also show constructing scene. Maybe you're not a comedic actor. This is not in your thing, but the scene can be a lighter scene with something more dramatic. Sometimes 2 scenes is enough. And what I personally love is a little edit of all the different things and the different looks on a little bit of music. Shows me, let's say you were in period piece, but the role is not interesting enough for you to show me a scene of that, but at least I can see you in period garb, what you look like when you're, in World War II or whatnot. That's very, very interesting, because it's oftentimes we're asked when to go back to what Sarah was saying, when we're asked to sell you, is that we have not been able to get, for whatever reason, during the audition process, precisely what the client wants to see. So whether it's a look, whether it's a tone, whether it's a performance, we directed you a different way than what they had in mind. So any kind of demo or images that you have that can help us help you get the job, that's wonderful. But yes, keep it short. I've seen like demo reels that are 7-8 minutes long. This is too long. And we want to see a variety of performances. So and also not really interesting if you were a waiter or someone had like 3 lines. There's nothing much to play your exposition. And so use those images in that little short little montage, And so we can see you as a waiter, but you can't if you have something that has a bit more meat around the bone dramatically. So show that scene instead.
Ian, anything you're looking for specifically?
Yeah, I agree. It's nice to see range, and it's nice to see like differences in what an actor can bring out, and a demo reel is a way that we can present professional work that you've done, work that's more polished. It's nice to see recent things as well, so that we know what you currently look like and what you're being booked in right now. So if you have any projects that you've been cast in, and you get your hands on the footage, it's good to kind of refresh that demo reel every so often, so that we see new material, not just material from like 5 years ago, or sometimes we get demo reels with some folks that haven't, maybe have done shows, like 20 years ago, and the footage isn't as clear. And although it's really nice to see what you have been in and what we may have known you from, it's important to present a polished look to the directors and to our producers and clients. So sometimes I'll just leave those demos off and ask for a tape or ask for a meeting, depending on who the person is. But yeah, demos can be a very helpful tool.
Gloria, anything you're looking for specifically in a demo? Anything lengthwise?
I'm never asked for a demo reel, ever.
Okay, I'm gonna
Ian, when you do the non-union series like I do, you're not asked for demo reels. You just bring in the people. Like in that. Well, I'm never asked for a demo reel ever.
I find that for non-union series, sometimes non-union actors don't always have a demo material ready, or they may only have a few scenes here and there. So it can be helpful sometimes to present that, but we set the expectations of our clients up, if it's for a non-union project long form, that the majority of actors that they're going to see won't have a demo reel. So it's better to get them in the room or get an audition from them.
Right.
And
No,
rely on that
I've never been
performance.
asked. Yeah, I've never been asked for demo reels, and mine is so quick. Like I mean, I'm listening to what you kids are saying, and wow, you do a lot of work. I do very little compared to what you're doing. I mean, really, I'm lucky. Mine
Yeah,
just goes very quickly, and it's just a different venue. It's a different thing. But I
you
am
were
getting a
able.
lot of, pardon?
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, like a good demo too. I've been able to sell, like when we're doing the long format we get to do, people bait like demo offer only for big roles. Like if you have a great demo and you're a super successful actor, you're not reading for me. But I can get you booked based on your demo. And like some of the main players in Bourrier, demo only, and a couple of them had meetings with the director. But other than that, like their demos were solid. And like I'd cast you in anything.
Yeah, with me, they go very quickly. Everything is very fast. I bring them in and let them do their 3 or 4 lines, and we have a reader, and they get the end of the day. There's an eco cast, and we're done. I mean, it's very quick, and it's easy for me. It's very easy. I can do 3 series at one time. So, and I have. So I'm in just a different venue than you guys. I don't do any union work at all. So, and when I do, when May Day came, I said, no, no, Stephen will do it. When Boria Salming, they asked me to do that job too because it's cream. I said, no, send it to Sarah and Stephen. I know what I'm good at, and I don't want to get in over my head and make a mistake. And I know that Sarah and Stephen are amazing at the union stuff. I'm not.
Well, if
I
anyone
don't
ever
even.
wants me to cast a ghost, Gloria, I'll send them to you because I know I have no ghost casting skills.
What if it's
No,
a
I
ghost
love you,
commercial?
Sarah. I
You're a
really do. You
murderer.
know that.
Send it to Glow.
What if
That's
it's a
what
ghost
she's like.
commercial?
Yeah,
Ooh.
I love you, honey. You're
Because
you're
Well, I
just
think
we're
if it was a
wonderful.
ghost murdering neighbor commercial, sending it to
Oh,
Glow.
I mean, somebody said, "What is fear thy neighbor?" Can you just give me a sentence? I said, yes, I'll tell you exactly what it is. There are two neighbors. One neighbor takes a stone or a rock and moves it to the other side. The other neighbor comes over and says, would you please move the stone back? This guy says no, so he shoots him. That's what fear thy neighbor is. Very simple. One neighbor shoots the other neighbor. All the stories are the
Sounds like
same.
a rough Saturday. On that
And I've been
segue
doing
note,
For Thy Neighbor for 9 seasons. I just finished season 9, and they ordered Discovery ordered 20 episodes this time. They love that show. It's
Where do
usually
they
12.
find more terrifying neighbors? I guess, you know.
I don't know. We did 20 episodes, Sarah. They put up 12 already, I think. They have some more because we're waiting for them to put them all up because they want to go to season 10. Yeah, it's like a lot of neighbors, and it's all in US. It's very few Canadian. I mean, Ian, you do these kind of shows too, don't you?
We have, yeah, for sure. And it's kind of wild when you get all of the. We used to cast See No Evil, and we would get the case files in from everything for our research period, and before the scripts are kind of even written. And it's kind of wild some of the stuff that comes straight from the police department sometimes. So it's
Yeah.
an interesting research process for some of those shows. I'm sure you
Yeah,
know,
it's
Gloria.
fun. I mean, it's easy, and we give a lot of actors their start. I mean, we're using a lot of people who've never done anything before. As long as they have some training, I'll bring them in. They don't have to have anything on their resume. They take training, I know they're serious. I bring them in. If they look, because I'm matching faces on top of it all, because they're real stories. So, it isn't as easy as I'm making it out to be. I have to make sure that these people look like the real people.
right?
And sometimes I just can't find it. And the Discovery said, just make sure they have brown hair and brown eyes, and we'll shoot around it. But, nobody has a twin out there. But I love it. I wouldn't be doing it for this long. I love it. I have wonderful clients, and I'm happy with what I do. I couldn't do what you guys do, the long format and the union. I couldn't do it. So I wouldn't even dare try.
Well, all you guys are doing a great job, no matter what it is that you guys do, I will say, whether it be non-union, union, commercial, voiceover, long format, short format. I'm going to ask a couple questions from the audience, and then we're going to wrap this up. Again, I just want to thank you guys for being here. This has been a great panel, a lot of insight. I've learned a few things. I'm going to go do little edits. I'm going to make my commercial reel. I didn't know we needed those. I mean, I could use that. I could do that. Let's do that. We have a question from Josette. Josette, if you're still with us, thank you for your question. Here's a good one. Now, I know this has changed a little bit since we don't use this very often anymore. Do headshots help you with your decision do headshots help you with your decision making to allow for auditioning, or is resume equally important? Essentially, the question is, how important is the headshot nowadays? I've noticed now, I've printed a headshot 2 years ago, and I haven't submitted it in since because everything's digital. But as far as headshots are concerned, how important is that? Or is your resume just important? Sorry, my dog is crying. This is not a self-tape.
Very important. I mean, as casting directors, what we do is we're looking at tiny little headshots.
Yep.
So of course, that's what we're looking at, especially if we haven't seen you before. Ooh, an interesting look. Oh, I like their headshot. I often obviously will check your resume, and it's important too to see that you have some training or whatever. But how I click on your resume is I liked your headshot. So a headshot is extremely important. That being said, don't dupe us. We need your headshot to be fairly accurate to what you currently look like. So I love the actors who are so good, so I still bring them in, but it's like them from like 20 years ago, and I'm like, yeah, right. But anyways, a headshot is very important to answer the question.
Right.
Not important at all. Nothing. Don't care.
What about a voice shot?
Don't care.
Picture of my mouth.
You're funny, Tim.
Is that weird? Okay. Allison Walker. Question for Kim. This is for you, Kim Hurdon. What age is an ideal age to start doing training for video game voiceover? This is a question for my 15-year-old who is grateful for KH casting training program.
That's a tough one.
That is a tough one.
Yeah, there aren't a lot of roles for kids. Mostly in AAA.
Yeah.
So union stuff. So you can start training. but I don't know if I would as a teenager. I mean, you can hold off on that. I don't just because there's a lot of sort of adult content as well, a lot of swearing, a lot of killing, a lot of blood. So I would hold off on it. Maybe 18, 19.
Great.
Yeah.
Question from Shannon that just came in right now. We're live. We're live. We're doing this live, everyone. It's a live question. Do you have a preferred color for the backdrop when doing a self-tape? I'll add to that. How important is a backdrop?
I'll go. Everybody's skin tone and look is different. So obviously pick something that complements your skin tone and you don't blend in. My husband used to tape on this wall and he was the exact same color. So he looked like floating glasses. Not a great look. But again, I'm casting you as the actor. I am not casting your backdrop. So whatever you have used, but the last thing we want is for us to watch our audition and be like, wow, that was a beautiful backdrop, or wow, that's an interesting backdrop, or whoa, their house is so messy. So I don't care about your backdrop. I care about your acting, but I need to be able to see you and not be distracted by what you're taping in front of. And obviously, yeah, it should sort of, and don't wear a shirt that's exactly the same color so you look like floating eyeballs, but more important in good acting, less important in a color of your backdrop.
Yeah. Maxime?
No, I was gonna say doesn't really matter, and if you don't have access to a backdrop, a clean wall, and try to not show us that your kitchen is really messy. There's nothing more little. I don't want to notice the background. I want to concentrate on you. So wherever, try to find a place in your home where there's a bit of an empty wall or something like that, and the rest is all about you. It's you. Show us how good you are.
Thank you.
For commercials too, Farid, like when you used to come into our studio, if we were doing a Sleep Country commercial, we'd build you a fake bed. Like it would be super weird. So for commercials and not for long format, if you have a place in your house that you have, good lighting, we can see you, we can hear you, and you want to tape in your kitchen because it's a Pillsbury commercial, or in your bed because it's Sleep Country, instead of like fake sleeping against a wall, I fully support you as long as I can see you and hear you.
That's a great point. That's a great point. Question from Shaylin Noyes. This is a good one. I was actually going to ask this question regarding the demo reel. Is it better to submit classwork / scene work, maybe like if you had a self-tape you did with a partner just like this, for your demo if you don't have any professional material, kind of a cart before the chicken before the egg sort of situation? A lot of times people want a demo. We don't have the, like Maxime mentioned, you might not have the footage. Are you guys good with, because I remember I did this when I first started. I did a scene from something that I liked, and I just read it with my partner, my scene partner, and made it as professional looking as possible. Do you guys like that? Maybe like 2 or 3 scenes stitched together? Thoughts?
I can take this one. So I think for me, I wouldn't present that to the client, but it sometimes can be helpful for us, me as a casting director, to see, a scene that you think you did really well on, that you think you worked on and polished. But I wouldn't send that to a director or to a client unless it were professionally shot, like material.
Kim, in the voice world, do you have any thoughts on any self done
demos?
Like
demos,
that.
maybe
Self-voiced work, or maybe if you did it in maybe one of your classes that you created your own little sizzle reel with your voice.
Yeah, because it's expensive to do reels. So if you've got a couple of things that you can throw together, just as Ian said, it's a great way to introduce yourself to a casting agent, but I wouldn't forward it because we cast from demos quite a bit for commercial, straight from demo. So you're not going to get booked because you're going to be compared to someone that has actual commercials that are edited together.
For sure.
Yeah.
So just to summarize, Shaylin, I think your point is a good point, and it's great if you're trying to get in the front of the eyes of the casting directors that you haven't met. It's a great tool to use to say, hey, look at me. I have some chops. You may not have seen them, but take a look at this. But don't think it's going to be used for client submissions. Great. I think those are all the questions, guys. Kim, Maxime, Ian, Gloria, Sarah, this has been a lovely chat. Thank you so much for all your insight, knowledge, tips, tricks. I still have many questions, but that's for another day. Guys, if you're watching live on Instagram, stay tuned for any future talks. We're going to have a lot of more casting panels. We're trying to do it every Tuesday. We're also going to have some one-on-ones. We're going to have some pre-taped interviews with casting directors. We're getting a lot of thank yous from the audience. Thank you from Nova Scotia, from Trina. Thank you from Samantha. Thanks from Allison. You guys have got some viewers from all across. Is there any last bits of wisdom you want to give our viewers before you leave? Any tips, anything about any upcoming projects?
Yes.
Kim.
I just want to say, because I think it's important to say, we listen to every single tape that's submitted. We may not listen to the whole thing or may not watch the whole thing. I'm speaking for everybody, but we do watch and listen to them because some actors don't think we do. And I get it because you're sort of sending it out into the void and you don't know what happens. We're listening. And we're on your side. If you're good, we look good. So remember that too. We're with you. We're for you. We love you.
Mhm.
I also think people should celebrate small wins because you don't book every job. But if you're being brought in by the same casting director over and over, please know you're doing a wonderful job. I'm not watching your tape and being like, that one was super shitty. Let's bring them in again and waste everyone's time. Obviously, you're doing something great. If you're getting a recall, like you're doing something wonderful, the director or the ad agency thinks you could book it. And if you're being availed, checked, put on hold, like you're like the bronze, silver, or gold medalist at the Olympics. You don't always get the money and the commercial that comes with it. But at that point, there's nothing you could have done better. So, and especially for the long format, especially the actor jobs, if you're being brought in, like good for you, because they really don't see that many people. So you got to celebrate the little things because it's a bit wild. So please do that.
No, same. I'll go in the same way that Sarah says. If we ask you for a self tape, if we bring you in, if you have a callback, those are all wins. We think you have something, and we think that you may book it. So, and as Kim said, you make us look good as casting people when you book. And also remember, there's only one person that's going to book it. But if you have a callback, that means they thought you might have chances. So this is a win. This is not the actual money and the commercial or the part, but it is a win. So, and it will come to you at one point.
Yeah, and we're always keeping our eye out for people for other things that we're casting or we have coming up. So if we know if just because you didn't book or get called back or placed on hold for a commercial shoot or for a television series or film that we're casting, that doesn't mean that we're not seeing what you've presented us and thinking, you know what, this might work for this character that we're going to be casting in a month. You know, we just got the script, I just read it, you know, let's put a tickler there for us down the road. I think that's our job, is to always be thinking ahead of the curve as well. So anything you send us can help towards that.
Thank you so much, guys, for your wise words and for your positivity and for all your feedback. Guys, this is Entertainment 411, your backstage pass to all things industry. I hope you're feeling positive. I'm going to give you my piece of advice. You make 75% of the commission that you book when you book. Your agent does 15%. That means you're responsible for 75% of your career, if not more. Go edit your demo reels. Go get better headshots. Go take acting classes. Better yourselves. Balls to your resume, because work begets work. If you're sitting at home waiting for your agent to call you for an audition, you will not get it. Manifest that stuff. Go and get it. Edit your tapes. Get better. And keep on grinding. I know this industry has been up and down, especially with the strikes. But as you can see, there is some positivity coming around the horizon. Stay truthful. Stay positive. Keep auditioning. And when you do not squander those opportunities. Put your slate in the right place so you don't waste your goddamn demo, or your tape, your audition tape. I'm Farid YAZDANI, your host. This will be shared back on eBoss. Again, tune in every Tuesday. We're going to try to have this panel. Thank you so much for your questions. Thank you, casting directors. You guys were lovely. Reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram, X, all the good stuff. I'm Farid YAZDANI. This was Entertainment 4111111. Good night.
Bye.